Hello, and welcome to Skidmore. My name is Sari Banks, and I'm the Dean of Students and Vice President for Student Affairs here at the college. It is such a pleasure to be here and talk with you today. I know that you are probably filled with emotion around your college search. I'm sure that emotion is compounded by everything that's going on in the world. Please know that we understand, and we hope that you and your family are healthy and safe. To all of the accepted students watching today, congratulations. All of the hard work you have put in, going to school, studying, taking exams, extracurricular activities, playing in sports, community service, are all paying off for you right now at this moment. We also know that you didn't do this alone. So if you're watching, take some time later on to say thank you to your family and friends who have been with you all along the way and who will continue to be with you over the next 4 years. So much about college is about listening to your gut and listening for things that resonate with you. Looking for opportunities for growth, for development, and for learning. Even though we're not in a physical space together today, I do think you will hear a lot about those opportunities here at Skidmore in our discussion. Skidmore is an amazing community. We have talented faculty and staff that are committed to education, to learning, and to excellence, to health and safety, and to growth and development. You will now have the opportunity to actually hear from students. They are the heart and soul of Skidmore and the reason we are here today. Each student will introduce themselves, they'll say their name, where they're from, and their major or what they might be interested in majoring in. And then once they're done, we'll discuss some frequently asked questions. Maggie, would you like to start?
Hi everybody, my name is Maggie Wu. I'm currently a senior, class of 2020, and I am originally from Hainan, China, but I now live in San Francisco, California. I'm a business and sociology double major with a minor in international affairs.
Hi guys, I'm Elliot Graham. I'm also a senior, class of 2020. I'm from Scarsdale, New York, so not too far from Skidmore. And I am a health and human physiological sciences major and a biology minor, and then have an interest in concentration in statistics as well.
Hi everybody, I'm Hannah. I'm an American Studies and Theater double major. I'm originally from Western Massachusetts, and I'm currently a junior at Skidmore.
Novi?
Hey everyone, my name is Novile Lamoleni. I'm an international student from Malawi. I'm a sophomore majoring in management and business.
Hi everyone, my name is Ryan. I'm from Manhattan, New York. I'm a sophomore. I'm a business major and a music and statistics double minor.
Hi everyone, my name is Serena. I'm a first year from Philly. I am looking to be a neuroscience major with a minor in studio art on a pre-med track.
Hi guys, my name is Theo. I'm from New Jersey. I'm a senior right now studying business management and economics.
Thank you all so much. And that hesitation you saw was the dean neglected to remember we were going in alphabetical order. So she will do much better as we move into the questions. So why don't we go ahead and get started? Can you each talk a little bit about your college search and how and why you chose Skidmore? Elliot, you want to start?
Sure. Yeah. So for me, I was originally recruited to play lacrosse here. So I committed somewhat early, but I went through obviously early decision and got in. And it's funny, when I visited Skidmore and along with visiting all other programs, specifically lacrosse, I really just felt at home. And I know that's cliche to say, but it's really true. I also felt that the athletes have such a depth of character at Skidmore that is quite unlike other schools that I visited. And then obviously when you think about the success of all the individuals who have actually come through Skidmore, And in terms of the high rigor of the academic programs in Saratoga at Skidmore, it was kind of a no-brainer for me to come. So again, it was a mixture of athletics and academics.
During my college search, I was actually looking at a lot of BFA theater programs, so conservatory level arts programs. And at my parents' insistence, I looked at a few liberal arts schools. And when I got to campus at Skidmore and heard about the fact that you could study many things intensely, I really fell in love with the school. So I came to Skidmore and chose Skidmore because I could study my art, theater really intensely, but not compromise any of the academics that I also love so much.
So as in high school, I was actually part of a program that was specifically targeted towards mentoring students from underrepresented identities, for example, first generation or low income students. And my counselor there was actually a Skidmore alumni. So through that program, I really got to learn about what liberal arts schools were in general, because I had always thought I would end up at a UC or one of the bigger universities. But through that program, I got to learn more about Skidmore, and Skidmore sent me on Discovery Tour. And so through the Discovery Tour program, I was able to meet with a lot of students that are currently on campus, as well as a lot of staff. So a Skidmore staff actually came up to me and was like, "Hey, are you Maggie?" And told me that they had read my personal statement letter and my application to Skidmore. And I just felt immediately kind of a member of the community, because I didn't know I would ever come in contact or know the person who gets to read my college application. So that really made me feel like I wasn't just a statistic, but rather someone who they already see as a member of the community.
So I'm an international student, as already said, and I was looking for a place that, being far away from home, I would feel welcomed. And Skidmore for me was that place, because it's a small community, and I was looking for a place where I would be able to build relationships with both my professors and friends, and Skidmore makes it easy to actually build those kind of relationships. And being a business major, I was looking for a place that would also be at least close to the city, because there are a lot of conferences that happen in the city, and Skidmore has been that place for me. Like those are the main reasons why I chose Skidmore. And the other reason, Skidmore really supports very well if you're coming from a low financial background. So I was looking for a place that would really help me pursue my dreams, even though I don't come from a financial wealthy family.
So I was looking for a small liberal arts school close enough to New York City that it's, traveling would be fine, but also sort of like how Elliot said, I looked at places where I could play hockey, as you can see from the background, but I sort of don't like to answer this question sometimes, because when I got to Skidmore, about a month into me playing hockey, I got a concussion, and I can no longer play, but I like to answer why I stayed at Skidmore. And the reason why I stayed is because of the people and the support that I really got, academically, socially, even athletically, saying, like, not like pressuring me into continue playing, which for a concussion would really be bad. But also with a brain injury and going to college, it's a lot to ask. And I really got the support that I really needed. And that's what's helped me stay at Skidmore.
I chose Skidmore after looking at a lot of schools that were going to support both my scientific interests and my artistic interests. And I found that Skidmore supported both really well. The whole motto, creative thought matters, really does ring true here. And I really appreciate the fact that they support both. It was also very much so an emotional decision, because I found that I really wanted to find some place where I fit in and where I could actually relate to students. So through the process of like taking a tour and having a meal with a student, I was able to kind of understand that this is actually really a community and someplace I actually want to be invested in.
Well, I applied to Skidmore first and foremost because I wanted to go to a small liberal arts school with a strong business management program. But I didn't really fall in love with the school until I came and visited for Accepted Students Day. And I was able to speak with a bunch of Skidmore students. And I guess the eloquence in which they spoke, as well as the passion they spoke for which they were studying, really spoke to me. And it was hard to find other schools with people who were as passionate as I found at Skidmore. And those are the types of people I wanted to be surrounded with for the next 4 years.
You all talked a little bit about the location. Some of you were looking for a small private liberal arts college. Some of you wanted to be close to a city, even though you're in a city. What do you do in Saratoga Springs? What do you like to do on the weekends?
That's a good question. I think for me, there's really not a lot that you can't do. And what I mean by that is when you look at Saratoga, it really is amazing. The downtown the main street and Broadway is incredible. Really good food for a small town, which for me was important. As well, there's the art scene is great as well. Just not in Saratoga, but in the close surroundings of Saratoga. And then you have Spa, the national park. It's incredible. I go there a lot to walk around. And then also, as we talked about, you're in close proximity with New York, but as well with Philadelphia, as well as Boston. So there really are a lot of opportunities to stay on campus as well as venture out. Also in the winter, I mentioned there's skiing. So you could just go on and on. But there really is a ton to do, and you'll never be bored.
Maggie?
Yeah, I also wanted to highlight that the student clubs on campus also provides a lot for students over the weekends or even throughout the week. Personally, I'm the president of Asian Cultural Awareness Club, and I know that my club, ACA, as well as other diversity clubs on campus, we always offer events like bubble milk tea workshop or like karaoke night and with curry. And also I joined a lot of outing club events as well. I'm not a very athletic person, but I try to get myself out there as much as possible. And I remember going on a really affordable whitewater rafting trip for just $20. And at the time I didn't even know how to swim, but I put on a life jacket and I was like, I'm not going to tell anybody about this. I hope I survive, but I did. So there's a lot of really affordable opportunity that the Student Club to provide for students, and financial support is always there.
Novi? I think you're on mute.
Yep. So I'm a people's person and I really love getting into conversations with people. So one thing that I really love is that my professors managed to connect me with different clubs downtown. So for example, there's an organization called the Soroptimist Saratoga that brings different women together. So that's like a place where I really enjoy going and meeting different people and talking to different people. And as I already mentioned, like at times being far away from home, it's hard to go home every now and then during the holidays. So for example, last summer, I spent my time here in Saratoga at Skidmore, and it's just a beautiful time to go downtown, walk around, go to different cafes and restaurants. Yeah.
Theo?
Yeah, well, sort of going off what Elliot said, I think Saratoga Springs is a very unique town. It's a very important part of Skidmore College in the fact that it has the track. So the town population basically doubles in the summer and then everyone leaves when all the Skidmore students come. That infrastructure is still in place. So Skidmore students get the unique opportunity to enjoy that. Like we have the National Racing Museum, National Museum of Dance, Saratoga State Park, the National War Museum, and all those things are pretty much exclusively for Skidmore students during the semester, as well as all the restaurants.
And I often wonder how you all keep yourselves so busy and between all your work, but you still manage to get it all done and have a good time. So that's good to hear. What's it like to work on campus?
I can jump start on that. So I think I've worked multiple jobs. And I remember when I first worked as a first year in the dining services and as well as in Burgess Cafe, I liked working because it was a great chance for me to meet fellow workers who were also students as well. And so it was not just, working, it was just meeting friends as well, and you get to socialize in that environment. But I still remember also befriending the chefs there whenever I would go to dining hall, or even as a senior now, if I go back to dining hall, I always say hi to the chefs as I pass by their stations. And so I think working on campus is an enjoyable experience, and you have to make the most out of it. but I also worked as in my junior and senior year, I started working in student academic services as a peer academic coach. And that was also a really good experience because you get to, I worked in the sociology department specifically, so I get to mentor students who are in the sociology department or just taking sociology classes for the semester. And it was nice because I get to, relearn and also review my own material while passing that knowledge or helping others. So it was a lot of peer, it was a really peer focused working environment. So that was good as well.
Novi?
I think working on campus is also another way to understand the day-to-day operations of Skidmore College. So I work with the Office of Communications and Marketing and the Management and Business Department. So with these two places, I'm able to interact with full-time Skidmore employees who are able to transfer their knowledge, who are able to share their skills and their experiences working with Skidmore. And one thing that I always see with Skidmore faculty, with Skidmore staff, at least the ones I've been working with, is they're really passionate about their job and they're really excited to be at Skidmore. So there's this energy that they share to me as a student to be enthusiastic and really passionate and feel really blessed to be at Skidmore. And one thing about campus jobs is they're very competitive. So the earlier you apply for them, the better. And for freshmen, you can only work in the dining hall. Yep.
So going off what Novi said, the jobs definitely are very competitive, but at the same time, in my experience, I think that if you're especially going for a teacher's assistantship or a research assistantship, the professors will be very accommodating and want to get you involved in whatever way they can. I remember for me, I'm both a teacher's assistant and a research assistant. And for my research assistant, I just had a quick question about a lecture from a professor, Professor Denise Smith. And I went in and she knew that I was interested in statistics. And she said, "Oh, do you want a job looking at statistical analysis in my lab?" And I was like, "Sure." And I've been working with her for 2 years. And from that, you notice how much they care about first you as an employee, but also as their students. They want to make sure that you understand the material and you're not just there doing busy work, but you're actually learning. So for me, it's been quite humbling to work at Skidmore, as well as just increase in my repertoire for my future.
Thank you for sharing that. So you talked a little bit, some of you, about your majors or minors. How hard is it to double major or add more than one minor? What's it like to develop that kind of program?
Hopefully. Yeah, okay, cool. I can speak to being a double major a little bit because I am one. At Skidmore, it is incredibly easy to double major, major minor, double major minor if you're really ambitious. I would say that it's pretty common on campus for students to double major. You heard in a bunch of our intros, a lot of us have multiple interests. I think that's a hallmark of a Skidmore student. Faculty is really, really willing to work with you to make sure your schedule can accommodate both your majors. For example, next semester, I have a requirement that I need to do for each of my majors, and they meet at the same time. But actually, within a day, I emailed both departments, and they were like, "You can take one as an independent study. We can find another class to fulfill that requirement." Everyone really, really wants to make your academic interests, no matter how diverse, work together to give you a really unique experience.
Maggie?
Yes. So I'm also a double major and a minor myself. I always tell people that are considering Skidmore that when you ask a Skidmore student what your major is, if they only say one, you always wait for like the second or the third one to come up. And I think that's the uniqueness of Skidmore because it's very interdisciplinary. And I am lucky in my case that both of my majors had their thesis or capstone during different semesters. So I took my sociology capstone in the fall semester, and I was able to take my business capstone in the spring semester currently. And so I think that allows me to balance out having to work on 2 thesis projects, but also as long as you work out your, schedule and the plans well, and and your advisor, your professor will also help you kind of work out your schedules as well to make sure you're on the graduation track. So there is always support around that. But as long as you know what you're doing and you plan it and you manage it in a way that makes sense to you, I don't think it's undoable. I was able to do it, and I was able to do it while studying abroad 2 semesters. So it's definitely manageable, and I encourage everyone to consider it.
Great. So I want to go back, Elliot, you started this conversation a little bit, but others, can you talk about any research you've been a part of or an internship you might have had and what that experience was like?
Yeah, so I'll start. For me, as I said, I'm a research assistant with Professor Denise Smith in the First Responder Health and Safety Lab. So what we look at is how firefighters specifically, that occupational cohort, are affected by cardiorespiratory diseases due to their high stress environment, which is obviously firefighting. For me, it's probably been the #1 reason why I encourage people to come to Skidmore, just to have that experience of working with a professor who is published in such high impact journals. For me, I've been a part and I've been lucky to actually be published in certain journals, and I'm in the process of publication for other journals as well. And then from that, I've also worked with other professors, not specifically working in their labs for research, but have also worked on manuscripts with them. So kind of getting in a door with one professor also allows you to work with others. So for me, that's why I think the collaborative atmosphere at Skidmore has been so positive.
Anyone else, research or an internship or things you might be interested in? Theo?
Yeah, well, actually, last fall, I worked in this class called SSCP, which is run through the Skidmore Business Department. It's not a class you can just join, you have to apply for it. It's basically a consulting internship in which the school takes certain students and you do consulting for local Saratoga businesses. So I was partnered up with 3 other talented students, and what we did was consult for the Saratoga Regional YMCA. We got to meet with the CEO as well as the rest of the executive suite. We spoke with industry experts as well as other experts in the nonprofit field, and we developed a plan over the course of the semester to improve their operating income and mission alignment.
Nice, very nice. Let's talk about study abroad. What kind of study abroad opportunities are there for students who come to Skidmore? Theo?
There are so many opportunities. Skidmore runs a few programs, by themselves, but there are also many independent programs that Skidmore partners with to allow you to study abroad. So basically, you can study abroad anywhere in the world based off of your interest as well as where you want to go. I personally studied abroad in Barcelona, and thank you for asking this question because I love talking about it. So I was there learning about international business and international finance, as well as learning the Spanish language. And I did an internship actually in Barcelona where I worked for a consulting company called El de Consultores doing financial consulting. And I think everyone who can should study abroad because the learning you get just from being in a different country and traveling and interacting with different people really changes your perspective of the world and has really made me personally more intelligent and able to speak to a whole slew of different issues that affect the European Union, and definitely has helped me to get a job and moving forward.
Elliot?
Yeah, just a quick addition to that. I actually didn't study abroad, but a lot of my friends did who are actually athletes. So that's one thing about a liberal arts school is that, again, the professors and your department are very accommodating. If you're an athlete and during your season, if you can't go, the coach will specifically encourage you to go maybe the semester after, the semester before. So just because you're an athlete, you definitely can still go abroad as well.
Thank you. And I know, Maggie, you had a different kind of abroad experience. You participated in the first year London program, right? What appealed to you about studying in London for your first semester? How was it, and how was it to come back to campus?
Yeah, so I actually made the decision to go abroad for London kind of not rashly, but in a quick, it was a quick decision. I received an email from Skidmore saying that I was qualified to apply for the program, and to be qualified, you just have to be above the age of 18 at the start of the program. And I looked at the email and I decided to call my dad immediately. I was like, "Hey, Dad, can I go to London for my first semester abroad?" He was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So I replied to the email immediately, and I was like, "I'm ready to go to London." And so they basically, the school sent 35 of us to Skidmore for the first 3 days. And then that was kind of our pre-orientation to prepare us for what we should be expecting when we go to London. And when we arrived in London, I think it was possibly the best way to start someone's college semester. But I really do urge people who are interested in the program to make sure that they know they are prepared to live in a foreign country and be in a foreign culture, because it's a lot to be in a different country your very first semester. But college itself is already really hard, but having not your parents close by and being thousands of miles away, just be prepared for that. But it was honestly a really great semester for me because Skidmore had a lot of support. You have two professors there with you, and you get to really explore London. There's a lot of field trips for you to do that. And their professors take you to high tea, takes you to all the museums, and you get to watch free musicals. So it was a really fun experience. And coming back, I always tell people that it is going to be difficult and expect it to be difficult, but know that you still have support. For example, all of the former London freshmen always come and seek out the new London freshmen who are returning in the spring, and we kind of take them on as if we're the mother birds and they're our little babies, and we show them the ways of how we accommodated and how we kind of immersed in the Skidmore community. And so there is a lot of support, not just from the faculty, but as well as the former London students as well. So it's going to be difficult, especially because it's the winter, but as long as you get through that and you try to make as many friends as possible and make yourself available to opportunities, it's a really fun experience.
Nice, and that winter prepares you for life in Saratoga. Yes. Can you all talk a little bit about orientation and pre-orientation?
So for me, I remember orientation as, oh wow, that was 4 years ago. It was definitely an exciting yet anxious period. But for me, at least, and I think Ryan will talk about this too, coming in as an athlete, and even as you're not, you're immediately going to meet friends and you're immediately going to see people. And you kind of make very quickly these very close-knit groups that also extend out. And through that, I think just in the first day, you're going to meet so many people that will be in your Skidmore story for your entire Skidmore career. Also, I think that the advisors and that the students who are already there do a really good job of making it very clear where your classes are, where you have to be, kind of lay out what a typical day is like at Skidmore. So when you go to your classes on that first real day, you're not lagging behind at all. So that was kind of my experience with it.
Hannah?
Yeah, I think like Elliot was saying, orientation at Skidmore is a really special time. And I think Skidmore does a really good job in particular because your orientation group is also the same group of students you're taking your first year seminar with. So it's not like you're with your orientation group for 3 days and then you say goodbye and you never see each other again. You get to make really close connections with people who you spend your first 3 days of college with. And then you see them 2 or 3 times a week in class. It makes you really comfortable in the classroom environment, and it also helps you form longer lasting friendships.
Your mic is off, Dean Banks.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I said, speaking of your first year, the first year experience in your first year seminar, can you talk a little bit about that? I think, Serena, your hand is up.
Yeah, I'm actually a first year student, so I luckily was able to, I'm probably one who has the best, not the best insight into this, but probably the one who has the most recent insight into this. I was luckily placed in a wonderful Scribner seminar, which is kind of our freshman seminar, kind of the intro to Skidmore, and that advisor really helped me learn how to function in Skidmore, what resources are available, not to mention, just offering academic advice. In addition to that, orientation is really lovely because as Hannah mentioned, you get to know the people who are in your Scribner seminar that you're gonna be friends with for a semester. Actually, in my group, I actually met my best friend on the first day right after convocation because, we were all in that group, which was really a lovely experience. It's a really supportive and it's a really supportive program. FYE really helps out with that. Really, it's a difficult transition, but I think that Skidmore makes it a lot easier than it could have been. Harder than it could. Yeah, wow, I'm really struggling with words here. A lot easier than it could have. It could have been really trying, but they really try and make it open to everyone and very, very supportive.
Novi?
Okay, so I always knew that I wanted to study management and business. So I took a Scribner seminar that was really so much into management and business and introduced me to a lot of business concepts that I use for my MB 107 class. And I think the Scribner seminar for me was more of building relationships with both my professor and my my fellow students up until one of my friends in my Scribner seminar is still my best friend, like one of my best of friends still today. So it's a good, I feel like it's a good time to actually get exposed to Skidmore, and that carries you through and through.
Theo?
Yeah, similar to Novi's point, I took a seminar. The cool thing about the seminars is they range from a whole breadth of disciplines. So you can take something that really matters to you. So the seminar I took was called Industry and Innovation. And basically what we did was we looked at industries and how they developed in the past, the airline industry, telecommunication industry, pharmaceutical industry. And then we looked at the future of these industries and where we thought they were going. It was really cool to get that business background, sort of like Novi said, that helped me in my later classes when we're talking about a specific industry. And I have that additional knowledge that other students don't have. And that's very unique to Skidmore because no other school will have a class like Industry and Innovation or any of the seminars because they're unique to the professor's interests and what they're most knowledgeable about. As well as speaking towards the pre-orientation programs, I didn't do a pre-orientation program, and I wish I did. That's advice I give to all incoming Skidmore students because I showed up to Skidmore on the first day and everyone was already friends who had been on these pre-orientation programs. And I was sort of playing catch up for the first few weeks. But to echo a similar sentiment to the group, your seminar really becomes your friend group. And I'm still very close to a lot of the people whom I took that seminar with, and they do a lot of bonding activities. And it's very good for your development and your transition into your college career.
So let's talk a little bit about residential life. What is it like living on campus and what kind of housing options are available to you? Brian?
So I think the great thing about Skidmore is that when you get accepted, hopefully because of this call that you're viewing, oh wait, no, you already have gotten accepted. But once you know that you're coming to Skidmore, you get sort of what is it, like a flyer or like a survey basically. And what it is, it's like, do you go to bed before or after midnight? Are you clean or messy? Do you do your work in or out of your room? And you get matched up with someone that's compatible to you. Typically, you'll live in a double or a triple your first year and then move your way through. And then when you're a junior and senior, you'll live in one of our on-campus apartments, which are very amazing. And hopefully I will live in one later, but I'm sure the seniors can say that they're very amazing. And a lot of people say that it's the best housing that college students will live in for their 10 years after graduation because of how nice it is. But we also have a lot of specialty housing options, whether it's ranging from like a quiet floor to a diversity floor to honors form to substance free. I know I'm missing a couple, but I know that a lot of students will utilize those resources as well.
Maggie?
I just wanted to echo Ryan's point that the apartments on campus are the best houses available. I think one of the saddest things about leaving Skidmore is probably leaving my apartment. I remember when I first moved into my apartment my junior year, I bought a TV, I had it in my room, and I had Netflix installed. And so the only thing that I looked forward to coming back from classes was just be in my bed and watch TV. So you have your own single rooms in the apartments, and you get to choose to live with either 3 or 4 other housemates, and you all have a kitchen that's very well equipped, and there's 2 bathrooms per apartment, and 2 floors, so 2 people per floor. And it's just really nice because you get to choose your friends that you're living with and kind of start this adulting life while, you know, doing your own grocery shopping or cooking with your friends. And that's definitely really awesome. And I think the dorms on campus are amazing, but the apartments, nothing can compare to them.
So what happens if you have a challenge or an issue with a roommate? What do you do? Ryan?
I can answer this because I was the person you would come to. So I was an RA this past year. And residential life does a really good job, you know, having students, at least from my perspective, directing students to us and us being the RAs, like trying to help you. In my experience, which was most of this year, obviously not now, but there are very few times it happens, I guess, because the survey does a pretty good job of matching people. I maybe just lucked out and had a really good floor. Actually, 2 people in this call were on my floor and were great residents. But even if it does happen, residential life does a really good job of switching out roommates this year. Especially, we had a really quick turnaround with students that, you know, had any problems. But we do have like a process where, you know, they'll come to the RA and we'll talk, have sort of like a roommate discussion. But it's very unlikely that will happen because like everyone's trying to, you know, be successful as they can be, and everyone is trying to also help each other. Like it's not a very competitive community. And even in like, I mean, I was an athlete, but you know, even on athletic teams in classrooms, like no one is competing over someone else to like get a better grade or like score more goals or whatever it may be. Like everyone's very accommodating and helpful.
Thank you. So talk a little bit about the food. What are the meal options that are available? How's the food at Skidmore? Theo?
Yeah, the food is very good. Skidmore chronically wins awards for having the best dining food around. And that's definitely the case. And it doesn't really matter what diet you have. Skidmore has an option for everything. They have a vegetarian option, gluten-free, whatever you want to do. A keto diet, you can do it. So the food's very good, as well as they have what's called test kitchens, which are essentially spaces in the dining hall in which you can bring your food and make your own food if, you know, you live in a dorm or you have a specific diet that you need to cook for yourself. As well as there's a lot of options off campus, a lot of very good restaurants, a lot of delivery to Skidmore that caters to Skidmore students. So you're never lacking quality food at Skidmore.
We also have something called Bread Day, or at least I call it Bread Day, and it's just every Friday from, I think, starting from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. The dining hall in the atrium, there will be a ton of different kinds of bread, ranging from vegan banana bread, vegan chocolate chip bread, or just muffins and any other types of bread where students can buy for, I think it's like $2 or $3 a loaf. There's always a line. I always like look out for Fridays, and I go there with all my friends. So there's these kind of quirky things like that. But the Skidmore Dining Hall also has themed dinner nights. So every semester there'll be around 3 themed dinner nights, and the chefs cook kind of foods that matches the theme. So we've had Harry Potter theme, Wizard Oz, I think SpongeBob, and then I think there was they were serving Krabby Patties that day. So there's a lot of fun options.
We have time for a couple of more questions. For those of you that are seniors, what are you doing next? And has the Career Development Center been helpful at all as you think about or plan for what your next step is? Theo?
Yeah, the Career Development Center is incredibly helpful. Everyone there is there because they want you to succeed and because they want to help you to the best of their ability. And they're always willing to talk, willing to help you with your resume. You can send them your resume in an email and they'll edit it and send it back to you. They'll help you with interview tips. They'll do mock interviews with you, as well as they often host on-campus interviews in which they'll have companies come. You can then interview with these companies. Last summer, both of my internships, I dual interned, were both through Skidmore and through on-campus interviews, as well as Skidmore Connections. So they're definitely very helpful. And moving forward, I'll be working at a company called ACO, which is the wealth management subsidiary of Goldman Sachs. So I'll be doing wealth management.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Novi?
So I'm not a senior yet. I'm still in my sophomore year, but I find the Career Development Center very helpful because Theo mentioned they host different events on campus, like the Wall Street 101. They even have a system called the Career Advisor Network that connects Skidmore students with and alumni of different backgrounds. And for me, it's really been helpful because I've connected and networked with different Skidmore alumni who have even I actually managed to get a summer internship for this year with EY in the city. So the CDC is a very helpful source here at Skidmore College.
Elliot?
Yeah, so just to, again, reiterate what everyone's saying, the CDC is great. For me, I went a little bit of a different route. I actually went right to my professors just because I have a very close working relationship with them. And I implore everyone who either gets into close contact with a professor or does research or just has a question to go and talk to them about where they see you fulfilling your future endeavors. And that helped me. I'm actually going to be a grad student, a PhD student at Colorado State for nutritional biochemistry. And I actually am working with an alumni of Skidmore where he's the head researcher. So again, the alumni network comes back into play. But again, the CDC is great, but don't be afraid to go and reach out to your professors or really anyone on campus.
Maggie?
So I don't have any plans as of now for graduation because with everything going on, I'm still trying to settle in with this current situation. But I do want to echo that CDC is an amazing resource. I've had previous internships where I went into the CDC to have them look at my resume and also preparing for my interviews. And a lot of my internship have said that I've also really learned how to use going to a liberal arts college and the liberal arts education as a way to kind of market myself and just show off how great it is to be in an interdisciplinary institution. And so a lot of my internships have looked at how I've been able to study abroad, and that's actually helped me gotten a lot of callbacks for interviews as well.
Thank you. So we know that Skidmore brings together a diverse group of people across all kinds of ways. We heard first generation, we've heard international, we know around gender, class, race, ethnicity. How can you talk a little bit about your experiences with diversity on Skidmore's campus?
I can jumpstart. So I mentioned previously that I am the president of Asian Culture Awareness Club on campus, and we are one of the biggest diversity clubs on campus. But I just wanted to kind of I think a lot of the diversity clubs, including ACA, we are a really tight-knit group. All the presidents and all the student leaders of the diversity clubs, as well as the diversity programming office, works to support us a lot. And we just wanted to make sure that our presence on campus and the programming that we do represents students of our community, and we could provide a safe space for students, because we have to recognize that Skidmore is a predominantly white university or institution. And so I think having our voices being heard on campus and show students that we are here on campus and we can be a support system for them really does say a lot. And also, I've met so many of my friends who are coming from California. I think also coming from a very homogenous high school, I've never really got to meet a lot of people who were not similar to my own identity. And so coming to Skidmore, I got to meet a lot of international students or students from just even other states as well. And my housemates and we like to joke around saying that we ourselves make up an entire UN, because I have my housemate coming from the Middle East, from Lebanon, she's an international student, and I have another friend who's majoring in Spanish, and also my other friend who is from Oman. So we like to joke around that all the languages that we speak and all of our kind of expertise and the majors that we're in kind of forms a little tiny UN of itself.
I personally feel Skidmore does a good job with supporting diversity on campus. For example, being an international student, we have the International Student Union and other cultural diversity clubs, like the African Heritage Awareness Club, which I'm a full member of, and I'm also fully involved in the Women in Business Club. And all these clubs get in as much support as they can from Skidmore, and it helps to actually feel appreciated on campus, that we can push and our voices can be heard. And Dinsiri does a really good job as well supporting us, which is really humbling.
Serena?
Yeah, in addition to that, I find that professors really support the students around this. I, as a biracial woman in science, it was really wonderful when a lot of the professors from different departments actually submitted this kind of sign up for people to voice their opinions about being involved in the sciences as minorities. And I think that's really wonderful that professors and staff actually really do care about being able to talk about those issues, especially in the classroom.
Thank you all. So what is one thing you would change about Skidmore? Theo and then Maggie.
That's a pretty hard question because I love Skidmore. But I guess one common complaint I would say is that it's a very small school. So be prepared to know everybody on campus, which is a good thing and a bad thing. You'll never be in a room without friends, but at the same time, you know everybody. But at the same time, the town is pretty big, so you can get off campus and sort of circumvent that issue. But it's a small school, you know everybody.
So as a first generation student, I found that there isn't actually a program specifically dedicated to first generation students on campus. So I'm also part of student government here at Skidmore. So before the end of the semester, I was actually hoping to work with the first year office to kind of get started and have a survey sent out to all the students on campus about their experiences and learn about kind of what resources we can create to help support students who are incoming freshmen who are going to be first generation or current students. So I definitely think that if you want to see changes happen, there's a ton of opportunities for you to do so. A lot of my friends, for example, my housemate is working on with campus safety to work they sent out a survey kind of getting students to respond and review their relationship with campus safety and let this campus safety officers know what they're doing well or what they need to improve on. And so definitely there's a lot of ways and a lot of initiatives on campus are student-led. So social activism is definitely a big part of Skidmore.
Okay, and final question. If you could only give one piece of advice to the accepted candidates, what would that advice be? And let's go in alphabetical order.
So for me, if I were to tell someone one piece of advice, would probably be don't be too narrow-minded when you first come in. For me, I had no idea how I would evolve into the person and student that I am, and that goes academically and socially. Um, I had an entirely different group of friends from the beginning to the end, even though I'm still in contact with a lot of the ones from the beginning. I thought I was going to be a film minor in the beginning. Now I'm a biology and statistics. So, I mean, there are a multitude of ways to grow and develop at Skidmore while maintaining who you are at your core. And I think that's something that I really do appreciate with it. With saying that, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to take a class that challenges you, and just don't be afraid to reach out for help. But definitely, again, don't stay narrow-minded. Look for things that interest you, and no matter if you pass or fail, you're going to get an experience out of it.
Sorry, it's me. I forgot for a second. I would say, and what I say to everyone is go to office hours, no matter what school you end up at, go to office hours. Your professors are there because they want to talk to you. You can go if you have questions. You can go just to hang out and hear about their life experience. I wish I started doing it much sooner in college, and since I have, it has really, really enriched my academic life. And also just getting to know my professors better has been like an excellent, excellent experience.
Maggie?
I think I would also echo Elliot's point that don't be afraid to say yes to opportunities. There's so many things you can do on this campus, and just as long as you kind of imagine what you want to do and you're passionate about it, just go for it. I think you yourself is the only limit.
Novi?
I think I would highlight more on the office hours, and don't be shy to speak up, because I feel that's a big problem that a lot of Skidmore students face. And there's someone out there, like everybody's willing to help at Skidmore. If it's mentally anything, like they're all professors out there, the counseling center is there, your supervisors at work are there. Just if there's any problem, speak up. Everybody's there and willing to help.
I would definitely say try new things. I think the first week that you're on campus, on like the first Friday thing, there's this thing that we have club fair, and everyone is out on like the green outside of our dining hall, and there are like hundreds of people, and like you can barely walk through it, but it's like everyone shouting at you like join this club, and it's really great. And a lot of people will sign up for about 20 of them, which I definitely recommend. I signed up for one, and it was my a cappella group, and it was the best decision I have made. They are like the 12 of my best friends that I have. But just like from trying new things, and not having hockey as part of it, like I became an RA, I became an admissions ambassador, participating in a cappella and getting accepted into an a cappella group. And those are all things that I didn't know that I would do coming into college, and just from things I'm glad that I did.
I would say to go with your gut and be confident in your decisions. I definitely was a little worried when I tried, like, oh yeah, I'll take the EMT course and I will apply to be an RA and an admissions ambassador and I'll do all this other stuff. But it's really about just like choosing what you want to do and just go with your gut and just be confident in making those decisions as well. Like you need to, well, I found that I needed to specifically just like be like, I want to do this, so I'm going to pursue it. And that's just something you have to kind of do when you're in college, is try those new things and keep working and making those confident decisions.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to use different words to echo a previous sentiment, but definitely try every new opportunity and accept all those opportunities. The fact that Skidmore is a liberal arts college allows you to have many eclectic interests and be able to use those in your job search and in life. And never say no. You'll never know what's going to appeal to you. And I'm a student athlete, just like Elliot and Ryan. And as you know from them, don't let the fact that you're an athlete limit what you can do, because it's not a limitation. You can definitely do a bunch of things. Like I work off campus. I've been part of student government. And you can do that while still maintaining a full course load and a full GPA. So try everything new. You don't have to stick with everything you do, but you definitely find out stuff that you never thought you'd be interested in.
Thank you all so much. And I'm going to give you the round of applause that I'm sure you would have gotten had we all been in audience together. You really are the sunshine. Thank you so much for doing this. We know this is a challenging time, not just for Skidmore, but for colleges across the board. And I've reminded folks that it's the students that are bearing the brunt of this the most. So thank you for being here and for speaking with us. And to our accepted candidates and our families, we firmly believe that a liberal arts education at Skidmore will prepare each student for any career or educational path they decide to take, and that it will prepare students to be good citizens in a diverse and dynamic world. As a community of faculty, staff, and students, we are committed to supporting that success. We do hope that you will choose to come here. Either way, we are glad our paths have crossed, and thank you for joining us today. Bye.